Welcome, everybody. Here we are at Replay Central. We're replaying the 1988 National League Championship Series between the Mets and the Dodgers. Today's pitching matchups are going to be David Cone, a grade A pitcher, and for the Dodgers, it's going to be Tim Belcher, a grade B pitcher. So on paper, the Mets have the advantage, but that never translates into what the results are. So you really never know what's going to happen, who's going to be on and who's going to not be on. The Mets lineups are center fielder Dykstra batting first, Greg Jeffries, third baseman, second, Hernandez, the first baseman for the Mets, Darryl Strawberry in right field, batting cleanup, Kevin McReynolds in left field, batting fifth. Batting sixth is Howard Johnson, the shortstop. Batting seventh is Gary Carter, the catcher. The second baseman, Backman, batting eighth, and batting ninth, you have the pitcher David Cone. And for the Dodgers, the home team, Steve Sachs batting first, the second base. Mackie Hatcher, I believe it is. Mickey Hatcher, I'm sorry. I was thinking of Mackie Sasser. Mickey Hatcher, first base, batting second. Kirk Gibson, left field, batting third. Batting fourth is Mike Marshall, right fielder. John Shelby in center field, batting fifth. Mike Scioscia, catcher, batting sixth. Hamilton, third baseman, batting seventh. Batting eighth is Alfredo Griffin, the shortstop. And batting ninth is Tim Belcher. Let's get started with our replay of the 1988 Game 2 of the National League Championship Series. Say 62. And off Dykstra's card, that's going to be a 27. Belcher's an X, so that 27 is modified into a strikeout. So you have a strikeout. Actually, both pitchers are going to be, one is an AXZ, and the other one is a BXZ. So we should see some strikeouts in this game. Okay. Greg Jeffries is the batter. Uh, 21 is a fly ball to left field. And Keith Hernandez with 2 away in the top of the first inning. It's a 25, which is an 8 against the B pitcher. That's going to be a fly ball to center field. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the second. Excuse me. Sachs. Steve Sachs, the second baseman, strikes out. 1 away. Mickey Hatcher, the first baseman. Mickey Hatcher in 88 games and 191 at-bats. Hit 1 home run, drove in 25, and batted .293. That's an 11. That's going to turn out to be a 0, which takes us to the second column. So we roll in the second column. That's a 63, which is a double. So Mickey Hatcher doubles with 1 out in the top of the first inning, and the Dodgers have a man in scoring position for Kirk Gibson. And that's a 56, which is a strikeout number 2. 56 is a 13. And now we go to the Moose, Mike Marshall in right field, hit 20 home runs in the season. It's a 25. That's an 8 against an A pitcher. It's going to be a pop fly to the third baseman, Jeffries. He calls for it. And that's all she wrote for the Dodgers. They strand one runner on second base, so they have one hit and no runs. Or no runs on one hit. Okay, so we go to Darryl Strawberry in the top of the second inning. Darryl Strawberry against Tim Belcher, the rookie. And that's a strikeout. Second strikeout for Belcher. 34, that's going to be a 12. It's going to be ground out to third base. Third baseman whips it across the diamond for out number 2. And now Howard Johnson. Howard Johnson had a pretty good season for the Mets. Didn't do much by way of batting average, but he did hit 24 home runs and drive in 68 runs. So he's got some power. That's a 14. Lifts a fly ball to left field. That's going to be the third out. So 3 up, 3 down. And Belcher's retired 6 Mets in a row. Go to the bottom of the fourth. This game is moving along. John Shelby, the center fielder. 14. Lifts a high fly to left field. And McReynolds gets under that one. Mike Scioscia, 51, is a 9 against an A pitcher. That's a ground ball to shortstop. 2 away. .34. It's going to be a 12. That's going to be a ground ball to the third baseman, Jeffries. Jeffries over to first. 3 down. Top of the third. For the Mets is going to be Gary Carter, Wally Backman, the second baseman, and then David Cohn. 26 on Carter's card is a 13. There it is, a 13. And that's a strikeout, third strikeout. Wally Backman. It's a 46, which is a fly ball center field. And Dwight Gooden. I'm sorry. David Cohn. There he is. Dwight Gooden was yesterday's starter. It's going to be 16-28. That's a ground ball shortstop. And that'll be 3 up, 3 down for the Mets. We go to the bottom of the third. Now, yesterday's game was a 1-0 affair. Dwight Gooden pitched a complete game shutout. An outstanding performance. The Mets won it in the top of the 9th inning on a Gary Carter solo home run. You can go back and check out that game. Played pretty late at night or after midnight. I think I started right before midnight. I still wished everybody a happy New Year, but it ended about 40 minutes later. Alfredo Griffin, and that's an 11. He rolls an 11, and that's going to be a double column. So we're going to roll in the double column. There's no modifiers once you get to the double column, and that's going to be a triple. A 2 is a triple for Griffin, so he starts off the bottom of the third with a triple. And the Mets are going to have the infield back, and we're going to have Tim Belcher bat. That's a 14, a fly ball to left. Let's see what that looks like. The left fielder for the Mets is a 1, I believe. And we'll double check that in a second. Okay, we're flipping a lot of pages here. We passed it. All right. So if he's a 1, he would be fielding column 3. And a 30 would be a fly out, runner scores. So that's going to be a sacrifice fly and an RBI, that little dot there, for the pitcher, Belcher. So he helps his own cause. And we go to Steve Sachs, and we're going to double check, make sure McReynolds is a 1. Actually, you know what? McReynolds is a 3. He's a 3 outfielder. You can see that, and that's a surprise to me. As you can see, I don't know these teams very well. I usually write in the numbers. I did not do it today, but I did check. So we have to go back and replay that, and only an F scores on the fielding 1 column now. Since he's a 3, we would look on the fielding 1 column. And let's see, Griffin is an F, so he'll score anyway. Okay. No harm, no foul. Okay, so Steve Sachs. And that's a 34 is a 12. A 12 is a ground ball third base over to first, 2 away in this inning. And Mickey Hatcher, who doubled his first time up, a 21 is a 32 fly ball to Strawberry. Strawberry gets under it, and that's all she wrote. The Dodgers come up with 1 hit and 1 run in the bottom of the 3rd, and we go to the top of the 4th with the Dodgers ahead 1-0. So we have the pitcher spot. Coney is coming up. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We have the leadoff batter, Lenny Dykstra, and that's a single, and a stolen base for Dykstra. So he sets himself up to score right away. And we have Greg Jeffries batting. Jeffries in 29 games and 109 at bats, had 35 hits and batted .321. He had 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 6 home runs with 17 RBIs in basically a month. So he earned his spot, and he's starting for the Mets, and that's a 15, which is an 11, and with a runner on second against a B pitcher. Let's see what that turns out to be. That's going to be a single to left, runner out at home. F scores. Dykstra's an F, so he scores. Batter steals second on first pitch, 1 strike on the next batter. So it's a single. Mets tie the game. Dykstra scores on the single, and it's a stolen base. And that's the RBI for Jeffries. And then we have Keith Hernandez with runner on second base and nobody out. It's going to be a 16, which is a 28. A 28 against a 9 shortstop is going to be a 6-3 with the runner holding. Strawberry, Darryl Strawberry. And that's a 56, which is a 13, and a strikeout, 4th strikeout for Belcher. And now it's Kevin McReynolds. '16 is a 28. 28 is going to be a ground ball shortstop. Griffin over to first, and that's the 3rd out of the inning. So the Mets score 1 run on 2 hits, and the game is tied going into the bottom of the 4th. We're going to see Kirk Gibson, Mike Marshall, and John Shelby in the bottom of the 4th for the Dodgers. Here's the pitch from Cone. And that's a 53, a 15. A 15 is we're going to look under fielding 1. And it's going to be a fly ball that McReynolds is going to be able to get to for the 1st out of the inning. It's a 45 to Marshall, and that's going to be a walk. John Shelby, 56 is a strikeout. 2nd strikeout for Cone. And Mike Scioscia, 64 for Socha is a strikeout. Third strikeout for Cone. And the Dodgers strand one. At the end of 4 innings of play, the score is 1-1 in the 1988 National League Championship Series replay. 44 for Howard Johnson. And that's going to be an 8 against a B pitcher, which is going to be a fly ball center field. Gary Carter, 33. We're going to roll into the second column. Potential extra base hit. But no, they get to it quickly and keep it to a single. So Carter singles, no modifiers on the second column row. Wally Bachman, or Backman, if you will, to pronounce it correctly, is up with Carter at first. Carter's going to play it safe. And that's going to be a single. And Carter's going to stop at second. So back-to-back singles here in the top of the 5th inning. Put runners on first and second with David Cone batting. Now, David Cone doesn't look that bad of a hitter. He does have a 6 at 66. That's a 51, which is a 36 with runners on first and second. A 36 is going to be a passed ball and runners advance 1 base. A passed ball, runners advance 1 base. And Coney is up with second and third. Say 24, which is a fly ball to right field. Carter's going to hold since Carter's a slow runner. So there'll be no sacrifice fly. And we get to Lenny Dykstra. Dykstra at 126 games, batted .270 for the Mets. He hit 8 home runs and drove in 33 RBIs. Mookie Wilson started in center yesterday. Today it's Lenny Dykstra. We're using the actual lineups from the series in 1988. It's going to be 62 at 27. A 27 with runner on second and third. Hamilton's a 5, so he's a top-rated third baseman. So we're going to look at fielding column 1. It's a grounder to third base. Hamilton handles it easily over to first. And that's all she wrote for the Mets in the top of the 5th. They strand 2 runners and have 2 hits. No runs on 2 hits. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. We're going to see Alfredo we're going to see Hamilton. Hamilton flew off the table. I have this robe on. I'm playing on in a robe, and it has these huge sleeves. So as I'm moving about, it's knocking players off the table. Jeff Hamilton, the third baseman, outstanding fielding third baseman. If you can see, he's rated a 5. And that's a 16, which is a 28. It's a ground ball to shortstop. Shortstop Johnson over to first. That's 1 away. Alfredo Griffin now. And again, that's in the double columns. He hit a triple last time up. Got a double column row. Let's see how far this goes. 24, it's going to be a single. They keep it to a single, but on the next pitch, he takes off for second and steals second. So now Alfredo is in scoring position, and Tim Belcher is the batter. 46, that's a fly ball center field. Griffin's going to hold to second. And we have 2 away and Steve Sachs. And that's going to be a 51, a 10 with a runner on second against an A pitcher. Ground ball to the first baseman. Hernandez takes it for the out. And that'll be it. The Dodgers strand one in the bottom of the fifth. And the score is 1-1 in the top of the sixth inning. I'm going to go to Greg Jeffries. A 24 for Jeffries is a strikeout. And that's strikeout number 5 for Belcher. Keith Hernandez, it's a 34, which is a 12, a ground out to third base. And Darryl Strawberry, 36, is a 33, and that's going to be a pop-up. And the second baseman, Sachs, calls for it. And that's 3 up, 3 down for the Mets in the top of the sixth. And we're going to see Mickey Hatcher, the first baseman, a 64, and that's going to be a 41. Field in column 2, that's going to be first and second on error by the pitcher. So Hatcher, a slow runner, is going to play it safe, but he makes it to second base with nobody out, and you're going to have Kirk Gibson. And that's a 45, and Cone walks Gibson. He was very cautious pitching to Gibson and figured it was better to give him a walk than to serve up a meatball and have it go into the seats. So Cone is facing Mike Marshall now with runners on first and second, and that's a 45, but Coney is a Z pitcher. And with first and second, let's see if he has the control to get it modified. 14, a Z pitcher, you get 2 balls. Okay, so Marshall has a 2-0 count, and here's a pitch. Let's say 36, which is a 14, and that's going to be ball 4. So the Dodgers are threatening here in the bottom of the sixth inning with the bases loaded. First, there was a two-bag error on Cone, followed by a walk to Gibson and a walk to Marshall. So Cone has lost his control here a little bit in the bottom of the sixth inning, and it's John Shelby, the center fielder, who's going to bat. So at this point, the Mets are still going to hold for the double play rather than bringing the infield in. 22 is an 8 with the bases loaded against an A pitcher. That's going to be a fly out, runner scores. So it's a sacrifice fly, an RBI. Actually, you know what? Hatcher's going to hold off on scoring. So it's going to be we're going to have to correct that, because Hatcher is a slow runner, and since there were no outs, I did not pinch run for him. So we're going to hold off on that score and see what happens here. So that's going to be a fly ball to right, but Hatcher's going to hold. And the next batter is Mike Scioscia. The infield's still back for the double play. It's a 52, a 27. A 27 is going to be a fielder's choice. The third baseman grabs it and throws to the catcher, Carter, who steps in home. And actually, it's going to be a strikeout. Because it's modified because Cone is an X. You can see here. And it's a strikeout. That'll be Cone's 4th strikeout. And a big strikeout. So now there's 2 away, and Jeff Hamilton, the third baseman, say 43, a 29 with the bases loaded. A 29 is going to be a ground ball back to Cone. Cone handles this one easily over to first, and he's out of the inning. So no hits and no runs in the bottom of the 6th, but the Dodgers leave 3 men on base. So Cone got out of a real tough situation there in the bottom of the sixth, which he brought on himself with those 2 walks after his error, his 2-base error. Okay, so here we go. Kevin McReynolds against Tim Belcher. Say 45, and McReynolds walks. Howard Johnson. 42 is a strikeout. Number 7 for Belcher. Gary Carter. 33, that's going to take it into the second column, so we could potentially have a run here since Reynolds is a fast runner. It's a 41, which is a single. So no, a single sends McReynolds over to third, but does not score on a single. So they keep Carter to a single, and you have runners on first and third. The Mets are threatening the go-ahead run at third base in the form of Kevin McReynolds, and it's going to be Wally Backman. In the seventh now, the infield will be in for the Dodgers. 53 and 18 with runners on first and third. Alfredo Griffin is a top fielding shortstop. So we're going to look at column number 1 on that 18 and see what comes from it. It's a hit by pitcher, filling the bases. So a hit by pitcher. The bases are now loaded. And David Cone is going to bat with 1 out. Do we bring in a pinch hitter and lose Cone in the top of the 7th inning? That is the question. What would you do? The Mets bullpen is decent. Let me take a quick peek at it. Let's take a quick look here at the Mets bullpen. These are the Dodgers. So we have Randy Myers, an A, XYZ. And we're going to have Roger McDowell, a B. So who can we bring in to bat right now for the Mets? Okay, let's see what Tim Tuffle, Kevin Elster. Elster hit 214. Tuffle hit 234. We'll go a little bit better than that. Oh, we're looking for you know what? We can bring in Sasser. Let's see if we could track Sasser down. Or we can bring in Mookie Wilson, but Mackey Sasser actually pinch hit in this game. So to keep it historical, and Sasser, what were his stats? I'm looking them up right now. He batted .285 in 123 at bats. He had 1 home run and had 10 doubles. So we're going to bring in Sasser to pinch hit for Cone. Going to write him in, Sasser for Cone, top 7. And see what happens. going to be a 32 with the infield in, is a 26 with the bases loaded. Bases loaded, infield in, 26. Second baseman, Steve Sachs, is a 7, so that's going to be fielding column 2. 26, single through second, runners advance 2 bases. So it gets by the drawn-in infield, and Lenny Dykstra comes up huge. Mackie Sasser, pinch hitting for David Cone, comes up huge and drives in 2 runs to make the score 3-1 now. Scores McReynolds from third. It scores Carter. Oh no, wait a second. The third base coach is stopping Carter. Carter barely makes it back to third base. There's a throw there, but Carter's safe. And the Mets only get 1 run. Carter just doesn't have the wheels to score on this CNI single through the drawn-in infield. So Dykstra, Sasser pinch hits a single, scores McReynolds. The Mets take a 2-1 lead. Now the bases are loaded. Well, I went crazy just marking everything up here in this inning. Got all excited. We got to fix that hit by pitch. You can hardly read it. Got to get a pen with a little finer point here. There we go. A little bit clearer now. And he's at second. There we go. All right, so the bases are loaded. There's 1 out. Lenny Dykstra's the batter. Against Tim Belcher. And that's going to be a 32, a 26. Oh boy, here we go again. Deja vu all over again. A 26 with the infield drawn in is another ball that gets through the infield, and this time Backman, who's a fast runner, is going to score. Carter scores. Backman scores. Sasser, an average runner, goes to third. And you have a single and 2 huge RBIs breaking the game open. The Mets are now up 4-1. And it's going to be Greg Jeffries, the batter for the Mets. Runners on first and third. The infield is still going to be in for the Dodgers. They got burnt twice with the infield in. And it's going to be Greg Jeffries. And it looks like the Dodger manager, Tommy Lasorda, is going to go to the bullpen. He's going to go to the bullpen, and he's going to bring in Jesse Orosco. Jesse Orosco, the ex-Met. He was actually on the mound when the Mets won their 1986 championship. For the last out, he was on the cover of the local newspapers in Queens, New York, holding his hands up to the sky in celebration. And Jesse Orosco is going to come in. And we're going to mark him as a blue. So we know that at this point in the game, with runners on first and third, Jesse Orosco came in for Tim Belcher, who just really pitched into some hard luck. A couple of what should have been outs because the infield was in. turned into hits and 3 runs for the Mets. So Greg Jeffries against Jesse Orosco. He's a B pitcher, but for this one batter, he's going to be an A pitcher and an X. Again, the infield in, and that's a 4 with runners on first and third. Let's look and see what that is. Runners on first and third for the Mets. And Greg Jeffries, it's a 4-11. We roll in 11, it's a 4. And let's look at what that is against an A pitcher. That's going to be a triple to left. So the first pitch thrown by Orosco is greeted by a triple, a 2-run triple by Greg Jeffries, scoring Sasser and Dykstra. The Mets take a 5-1 lead now with a runner on first and Keith Hernandez the batter. .64 on Hernandez's card. It's a 41. A 41 with a runner on third in the infield end. Let's see what's going to happen there. That's 41. All right, runner steals home. 41. Greg Jeffries steals home. So that's 6-1. The Mets are up. That was a unusual event. The steal of home by Greg Jeffries to give the Mets their 5th run in the inning, and now nobody on. Keith Hernandez still the batter. It's a 36, which is a pop-up. A 36 is a 33, which is a pop-up to the second baseman for the second out of the inning. And now Darryl Strawberry. .63 is a fly ball left field. And that's all she wrote. So the Mets score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. And they now lead it in the bottom of the 7th inning by a score of 6-1. So we had a double switch, Dempsey, and it was Orosco. So we're going to find Dempsey in the pile. Should not be too tough. Okay, we got Rick Dempsey now. He'll bat after Griffin. He's on deck. We got Alfredo Griffin against... We need a new pitcher for the Mets. In a 6-1 game, the Mets will probably bring in let's see who the Mets bring in here. Well, I have all Dodgers. I keep on finding stacks of Dodgers. Very few Mets. Okay. More Dodgers. Mets look like they've vanished. New York Mets. Let's see what we got here for the Mets. To bring in as a relief pitcher. In this game, actually, Leach came in, so we can bring him in. If we can find him. Who else was in? Aguilera. That's what we'll bring in. We'll bring in Rick Aguilera in the bottom of the 7th inning to face Griffin, Dempsey, and then the top of the order, Sachs. So Aguilera is going to come in. And we're going to color him in yellow. He's going to go 3 batters for sure. Okay. Hopefully that's all he goes because my my yellow just broke. Let's go to the action. Griffin against Aguilera, who's a D pitcher. '24 is going to be a 27, which is going to be a 5-3. 1 away. Rick Dempsey. Say 63, which is a 13 strikeout for Aguilera. And Sachs. 26 was a fly ball to right field. 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 7th inning. We go to the top of the 8th. Kevin McReynolds. Going to face Mookie Wilson, Sid Fernandez. Okay, that's where we can find anybody. Lee Mazzilli. Going to bring in Pena. See if we can track down Pena. Alejandro Pena is an A. He pitched in this game in historically, game 2. So we're going to bring him in and put him down as green to face Kevin McReynolds. He'll go 3 batters for sure, if not more. Okay, so that's going to be Pena. And Pena's an X. He's an A, X, Z for the Dodgers. So here we go. McReynolds, 32. It's a ground ball, second base. 1 away. Howard Johnson, 64, 13. It's a strikeout. And Gary Carter, 13, walk. 13's a 14, which is a walk. And Carter's going to play it safe, 1 base at a time. And Backman, 63, it's a fly ball center field. And Shelby's got that. And the Mets leave 1. No runs, no hits in the top of the 7th. I'm sorry, the top of the 8th. Go to the bottom of the 8th. And Aguilera is going to be in there. Let's finish up Orozco. Orozco pitched to these 3 batters right here. He gave up a triple to Jeffries and a pop-up, and then he got a fly out. All right, so Rick Aguilera, and we're going to have to sharpen that yellow, but we're not going to do it right this second. There's a sharpener around here somewhere. And we're going to go. Mickey Hatcher's up for the Dodgers against Rick Aguilera. Mets are up 6-1. Game 2. 51, which is an 8, which is a single. That's the second hit for Hatcher this game. Kirk Gibson. Hatcher's going to play it safe. 24 is a strikeout. Gibson strikes out. And Mike Marshall. 26 strikeout. That's Aguilera's third strikeout. That's a 64, and Aguilera strikes out the side. Rick Aguilera, out of the pen, strikes out the side in the bottom of the 8th inning. So here we go to the top of the 9th. You got Rick Aguilera, who's going to bat for himself. I write him in with 2 L's. He only got one L in his name. But he will bat for himself here. Not a bad hitter. 25 against an A is going to be a pop-up to the third baseman. Let's fill in these spots where Pena is going to pitch. Lenny Dykstra. Dykstra has 2 hits on the day. He's 2 for 4. Scored 2 runs, drove in 2 with an infield drawn-in single in the top of the 7th inning. 53 is a 17, and Marshall is a 1 in right field. So that's going to put him in fielding column 3 for number 17. And that's going to be a single and an error on Marshall. So a single to right and an error on Marshall. And we'll double check that. There is Marshall, a 1. Runner on second, 1 away for Greg Jeffries, who tripled in 2 runs, and that's 5-run 7th inning. Infield's drawn in. 21 is a 30 with a runner on second. It's going to be a fly ball to left field, 2 away. I have to fill in one more green for Pena. Keith Hernandez, run around in scoring position. Dykstra. It's a 15 and 8. And that's going to be a ground ball to the third baseman, Hamilton, over to first, and that's the third out of the inning. So the Mets leave 1, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. So it's going to be Mike Scioscia. No, Mike Scioscia was replaced by Dempsey, so he's not in there. So it's the pitcher spot. So we're going to have to get a pinch hitter for the Dodgers. Pinch hitter for the Dodgers. Jose Gonzalez, or actually in this game it was Wilson was in there. See if I could track Wilson down. Wilson played. Cannot find Wilson. Let's see, there's another little set here. Now let's see, not there. Let's see if I can find him in the Mets pile. Wait a second. I'm sorry, I was looking at the Mets. So I'm going to have to pick Jose Gonzalez to pinch hit. So Jose Gonzalez for Pena. in the bottom of the ninth. So here we go. It's going to be Aguilera to Gonzalez. 65-35. And that's going to be a pop-up. A pop-up. The bases loaded chart. I don't know why I have that going on here. 35. It's a foul out to the catcher. One away. Jeff Hamilton. Say 15, and that's going to be a single. Jeff Hamilton's at first. And it's Alfredo Griffin. Griffin is actually 2 for 3 in this game. 63, which is a fly ball. High fly. Strawberry gets under it. That's a second out. 1 out away here from the Mets going up 2 games to none in the 1988 National League Championship Series replay. And it's Rick Dempsey, the catcher. It's going to be a 64, which is a 38, but Hamilton's holding. I think that's a stolen base. We're not stealing bases when we're 5 runs down, that's for sure. You know what? We'll call it. We'll call it indifference. They let him take second base. That's a 44, and that's going to be a single, and they're going to hold Hamilton. So it's first and third now, and Steve Sachs. Steve Sachs with runners on first and third and 2 outs. Say 35. That's going to be a 9, first and third. So that's going to score Hamilton. And Dempsey goes over to second. Mickey Hatcher scores now 6-2. 27. 52 is a 27 on Hatcher's card with runners on first and second. First and second, a 27 is going to be a sharply hit ball to the third baseman, Jeffries, who throws it over to second for the force, and that's all she wrote for the Dodgers. They pick up 1 on 3 hits in the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Mets win it 6-2. The Dodgers had the Mets had 6 runs on 9 hits, and they committed one error, while the Dodgers had 2 runs on 7 hits, and they committed one error as well. And that's all she wrote for Game 2. The Mets now lead the series 2-0. They lead the 1988 National League Championship Series replay. And it was an interesting game. It was 1-1 until the top of the 7th inning when the Mets broke it open. Tim Belcher, who was coasting pretty much throughout the day, walked McReynolds to start off the inning, struck out Howard Johnson. Gary Carter singled, and then Bachman was hit by a pitch. That brought up pinch hitter Mackie Sasser, who singled with the infield drawn in, and they held Gary Carter at third. Barely made it back, and that's when, with the infield drawn in, Lenny Dykstra hit a sharp ball that the shortstop could not get to, and that drove in 2 runs. And then Greg Jeffries, facing Jesse Orosco, hit a triple, driving in 2 more runs, and that was 5 runs in the top of the 7th inning, which would go on to give the Mets a 6-2 victory. The Dodgers scored 1 in the ninth against Aguilera, who went 3 innings, the 7th, 8th, and ninth, and he gave up 4 hits and 1 run. Pretty good for a deep pitcher. You couldn't ask for more than that. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, like, and I'll be back with Game 3 in a couple of hours. Have to get to the dentist. This game went a little longer than I had expected, at 55 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon.